All right, so this is a huge topic that we have to address. Women leave men who lack masculine temperament, masculine tone, and masculine demeanor. And what I'm going to be showing you is what true high-value strength looks like. You have to understand that the world has probably convinced you that looks, money, and status is really what you need to become a man's man. And this is the fastest way to falling in the trap of chasing pleasure, while constantly focusing on external validation, and you're never actually going to solidify or fortify the internal masculinity characteristics that are needed to actually maintain attraction with a woman. So because of that, I'm going to show you exactly what to do and how to set up your life, and even how to make sure that you don't run into any of these problems anymore. This video is jam-packed with a bunch of tips, so I'm super excited to help you. Okay, so let's dive into the video. What men were told that women actually love and admire, okay? What men were told that women actually love and want. Men were told that you need to increase your looks, your money, and your status. Now, this may help your attractiveness, but here's what you're going to find. These things, okay, this is what should happen in theory, but this does not always happen in the real world. When you acquire something, okay, like looks, money, or status, these things to acquire probably took a lot of dedication and strength to acquire in the first place. So these things should have given you the arrogant persona to not tolerate disrespect. That's what should have happened. It should have gave you the internal characteristics and the arrogant persona almost, if you want to even use that word arrogant, call it whatever you want. Call it strong persona, call it, whatever. It should have given you the persona to not tolerate disrespect, but sadly for most men, it doesn't. They are fundamentally still nice guys. So here's what you're going to find, okay? The internal strength and attitude of a man matters way more. That's what creates desire in a woman to keep seeing you, okay? So this is why women will typically do things like maybe they'll cheat on their rich husband with, let's say, a broke guy. Because what she's after is she's after that internal strength. She also probably loves his low tolerance for disrespect. And on top of it, she loves his attitude of not needing anyone or not needing anything. So this is what you have to remember. The guy that she's probably sleeping with doesn't need commitment, doesn't need any kind of emotional reassurance, really doesn't care. A new day is a new day. The sun comes up, the sun goes down, and that's about it. And that's what she's repetitively coming back to because she feels that strength and that indifference. Now, let's move on to this column right here. These are the behaviors of weak and low value behavior. Okay, so this right here in this column, this is weak and this is low value behavior. Let me give you some examples. Text messaging too much or messaging on a bunch of different apps. Over communicating for literally no reason. Okay? Wanting to make plans and set dates. This is another huge one. Guys tell themselves, oh, I'm going to be a good leader and I'm going to make all these plans and set all these dates. All that shows is you don't have a lot of purpose or anything else to do than just spend your time in leisure. That's going to probably decrease attraction. Another thing, acting like you need someone to talk to, which shows that you need companionship. If she sees that you need to talk to somebody all day, she's going to be sitting there going, well, why don't you call up your friend? Why don't you call up your family member? Why don't you call your mom or your dad? Like, you have to remember, the cell phone isn't real communication. It's a screen. Real communication is when you're on a date with the woman face to face. So here's the biggest thing I want you to realize. This is what you should notice. Everything that I just told you right here, texting too much, over communicating, wanting to make plans and see her and set dates, acting like you need someone to talk to, which shows that you need companionship. So guess what? Here's what you're going to notice. You can literally make these mistakes, okay, at any age, no matter how tall you are, doesn't matter how many followers you have, or at any income level. I don't care if you make 50 grand a year, or 500 grand a year, or 5 million a year. It literally doesn't matter, because all of these things are about internal value. You can make these mistakes at any age or any income level or any status level. The second that a famous dude all of a sudden starts over communicating and text messaging too much and acting like that guy needs someone to talk to, now it's going to signal weak behavior too. So the good news for you is if you have been constantly chasing these external things thinking that it's going to bring you fulfillment, it will never make up for the lack of masculinity characteristics that you're going to need. So the good news for you is you can focus on other things. How amazing is that? I want that to feel like it almost takes some pressure off of you. If you feel like you're behind in life, or if you feel like you need to accomplish all this stuff, that can really help take some pressure off of you. Okay? So looks, money, and status does not make up for internal masculine temperament or lack thereof. That's what I want you to know. Now, moving on to this column right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to help you actually fix the root issue. Okay? The root issue, the root problem. Like if we go and we think of the root problem, not just the surface level problems, we want to go all the way to the root. Okay? Because this cannot be made up for with more tattoos or a new necklace or a fancy watch. You can't make up for the things that I'm about to tell you with anything on the external. You can't do it. Okay, so we're going to fix the root issue right here. This is what you have to do. This is 6 points that you should start to incorporate into your own life. Number 1, your yes means yes, and number 2, your no means no. That means you have to learn how to say things as a complete sentence without over-explaining yourself. Okay? You need to give complete answers. You need to be okay with that without needing to over-communicate. Number 3, you need to speak less. The more you speak in general, the more you reveal your interest level. The more you reveal your interest level, the less she likes you. There's literally no point in trying to do all of this communication. All these guys trying to use so much charisma and charm and all of this, it starts to decrease his value because of how easily he's giving away his attention and his time. Okay? So you need to speak less. Number 4, you need to speak slower. Okay, when you speak slower, it comes across like you're very grounded and secure. You're grounded in who you are and you're secure. It makes you seem like you're not anxious. Well, if you're not anxious and you're not nervous, that's going to signal real confidence. You will notice the faster you start to speak, the more you start to say, the more her attention drifts away from you. That's what you're going to notice. So you need to speak slower. It also shows that you're not in a rush, right? It shows that you're not in a rush to get to this date or this, venue or this location, or rush to get into a relationship or rush to go get married. Or it shows like you're actually okay with who you are, which creates an environment where she wants to see where this goes because it doesn't feel like you have any kind of expectation. Okay, that's very important. So you need to speak slower. Number 5, you need to show that you don't need any added communication. Like, just think about that for a second. Every single time a woman messages you or calls you, or anybody for that matter, even your friends or your family, every time someone is trying to talk to you, there is some underlying expectation of a reply. There's nothing greater than just not having to really deal with anything. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Like, communication is great, and we all need to talk to some people sometimes, obviously, but you need to show you don't necessarily need anybody. This is going to really help you. And then number 6, okay, and then my final point right down here, okay, never say 10 words if 5 words will do the job for you. Always remember that. Never say 10 words, never say 15 words if 4 or 5 words would have done the job for you. When you speak less, it shows that you don't need to overqualify yourself. So now let's move on to this column. This is where men go wrong, okay? They claim that they self-improve, or they claim that they're working on themselves, but the problem is they are still fundamentally nice guys. Like, the core of him is still too nice and too friendly. So your main problems are going to be listed right here. Number 1, you are probably attached to your cell phone, needing to talk to somebody. This is not good. Number 2, you think that a cell phone is real when in reality it is a communication barrier. Let me give you an example. Real communication is if somebody is right in front of you and you have a real conversation with them. That's real. Anything on a screen is on a screen. So keep that in mind. You are sitting there waiting for these notifications, acting like that actually means somebody's talking to you, when in reality, nobody is actually like in front of you having a conversation. So you need to detach from this. And then another thing you have to realize is like, you probably assume, okay, that you communicating gives you a chance. You probably assume that you communicating with her gives you a chance at a relationship or gives you a chance at going on that date, when in reality, this is what happens. In reality, she communicates with the guy who's busy doing things, who probably cannot communicate all the time because he has a life outside of her. So this has nothing to do even with, going and getting a bunch of options. This is literally about like, how do you actually set up your life as a man in the first place so you have something to do? This is really important to realize, okay? And then over here, these are the things I want to talk about right here. She needs to look at you and she needs to feel protected. She has to feel protected. Like she has to look at you, okay? She needs to look at you and think, okay, I am nowhere near as strong as this guy emotionally, okay? He doesn't feel the need to qualify himself. He doesn't feel the need to over-explain himself. He must have really high value, okay? He doesn't feel the need to engage in behavior or communication just to appease me. He clearly appears like he doesn't necessarily need love. He appears like he could be okay alone. He could sit there all by himself and hang out, and do whatever he wants for a week or a few days and not really need anybody. And then she goes, okay, he's inwardly focused. He's inwardly focused on himself, his own goals and what he's doing. He's inwardly focused on his own life. And then she goes, okay, this is a man that I want to be with. So this is what I'm telling you. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how good looking you are. I don't care how much status you have. These things might get your foot in the door to have a date, but this has nothing to do with like the internal strength of a man. And women leave men who lack masculine temperament, masculine tone, and masculine demeanor. And what I just showed you on this marker board is what true high value strength and masculine persona actually looks like. I encourage you now to take this a step further. You start that process of learning, understanding, and mastering the language of women, so that way you have step-by-step processes that you can actually copy-paste into your dating life and go and use it. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.